What's up, everyone? And the Train Freak is here, and we're going to do our next part on operations, which is going to be called blocking. So basically, I had a couple of locals run some cars from the yard on the lower deck up to this interchange on the upper deck. And in doing so, the cars in the interchange now need to go to the different industries in the industrial complex. However, the cars are all mixed together in this yard, and so to get the cars to the right spots much quicker or at an easier pace, the railroad now needs to do what's called blocking, or classifying the cars and getting the cars with the same destinations together. So this is what I'm wanting to share with you. So let's get into it. So let me show you what we got. Hey everyone. Alright, so what we're going to do, I've already went ahead and sorted all of the cards. These cards are actually in these 4 bins on this bill box, which represents these 4 tracks. The first bin here that I'm going to put this pin in, right now it's not really assigned to anything. Yet. Eventually, I will label it like I did this one. But that's neither here nor there. So, what we need to do is we need to get these cars organized to the different areas of the industrial complex that they're going. And not just that, but get the cars that are going to the same place together. For example, I've got a gondola here and another gondola here that's going to the exact same place. They should be together. I've got 2 stock cars, one with sheep in it that you can hear, going to the same place. So we got to get all of this classified so that way the industrial switcher, which right now is having some issues, can take care of it. I've decided to bring out my SD9. This is the one that I just opened on a mail call the other day. It's got a soundtrack Tsunami sound on it. And so far, this will be the very first run with it. I will let you know that I do have a turnout that came off of an old layout where it still has some paint residue on it. So it's causing some issues, but it's nothing that we can't work through. So best way, let's go ahead and handle it. Now, one of the things I did not show you is, and I'm going to show you on the card here, right here where it says 2, under that you can see the name of the company. The CLIC, that tells you exactly where, but like these 2 cards had the same CLIC, which means it doesn't really matter. The only industry that it really matters as far as which ones are going where is going to be Fresh and Funky, and that's because it's going to have only 1 track. But the building that I don't have yet is going to have, 2 bay doors, which that doesn't matter. But what's after the 2 bay doors, which is a cylindrical hopper, or maybe a couple of them, is going to be used for storing things such as corn syrup or sugar or salt or something along those lines. So we'll have to make sure that that one gets spotted in the right spot, because we can't spot the 2 box cars or reefers depending on what's going to be there, and then try to spot that tank car or covered hopper. We'll have to make sure that one's going to be ahead. So today we don't have to worry about it because I don't have a car for that spot today. But typically, and that's something we would have to be concerned or worry about. Let me go ahead and show you where the different industries are going, so that way you have a better understanding, and then we'll start spotting cars. So let's start off, make sure this is loose, here we go. We're going to start off on this side. Alright, so the helix is going to have eventually, not now, it's going to be covered. You're not going to be able to see except for the very far end of it as it comes around. And that is going to be Peckerwood Sawmill, which is going to have a couple of tracks, probably 3 tracks. One for dropping off forest products, and then a couple of tracks, one for the wood chips and another one for lumber. because it's going to have several buildings. It's going to be like a mini complex to the industrial complex. That's in a group by itself. Let's pan a little bit this way. Alright, so the brick building in the back, that is Juicy J's Meat Company. It's going to have 3 tracks. The one with the 2 bays, one you can see the door open. That's where the stock cars are going to unload. Then the next part of the building, the next track will be, kind of go past it. You can barely see the door above the tanks. And there's a loading platform there. That's going to be for the mechanical reefers, icebox reefers, depending on what's being ran, to receive things such as frozen meat, yada, yada, yada. Or it could receive a box car, maybe one dropping off some pallets. It could be a flat car dropping off pallets. Or it could be a box car where they're loading bins of tallow in it, and since there's no loading bay above. But there will be a third track that's going to be for unloading purposes only, and that's going to be the covered hoppers and tank cars, whether it's delivering corn syrup or salt. So 3 tracks for Juicy J. So that might be a group by itself since there's so much. However, the next 2 industries we could tie into that group. Passmore Gas has only got 1 car spot for propane or liquid propane tank car, and the Shack is Sit Furniture, which is this one right here. It's got 2 bays underneath. However, it only fits 240s or 150 or 160. So, and it cannot be an excess height car. So those 3 buildings I would say would be a group. And so the reason why I'm saying groups is for Peckerwood Sawmill, the locomotive's going to have to run around and push it up to the sawmill. And then as cars come back, it would actually come to the runaround, locomotive would run around and put it back in, the interchange. Kind of the same way with the group of 3 here. Locomotive's going to have to run around, pull up on the feeder track, which the feeder track is way back over there, and then shove those cars into those industries. So that's the only, pretty much everything from here this way will have to have a runaround. Everything on the other side does not. So in the back corner, there's a little slip of paper. I'll use my skewer to point it, but it's over here. That's Fresh and Funky. And that's the one, Fresh and Funky Produce. So that's the one that is going to, it's its own one little track. And locomotive does not have to run around. It can pull up and then push and drop off. Next we got Morton Salt, which is the blue building. I'm going to see if I can't try to get out of the way so you can see a little better. And Morton Salt, it's another push. Pull up and then push in. And then there's a track that actually lies off from the track that goes to Morton Salt. There'll be an industry here in the middle. Don't know what that is. If you're a Patreon member, look for it. You're going to get to decide the name of that industry. I've already got the building for it. So you get the name, suggest names for that industry. But not that you get to suggest names, you also got to suggest the commodities. And once I get enough entries, then I'll pick some that I really like, and then I'll let y'all vote on it. Alright, next we got the tan and green building, that's Gamer and Thrones. And then last but not least, I purchased this little crossover that I got to put in. And it's going to cross over the track that goes to staging, which is right here. And in this little hole, we're going to put in the Tetanus Scrap Company. So Tetanus Scrap will be the only industry where it has to cross that track. Or where the industrial complex has to make sure that there's a train not coming to and from staging. So they have to, request clearance. So that would definitely be one of those that you would want to drop off on its own, maybe. But you could group Tetanus, Gamer and Thrones, the unknown one, and Morton Salt as one group because of the way the track is laid out. Alright, let's pan you back so that way you can see what we're working on here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything's ready to go. We're going to come right back and with the locomotive, and I'll explain everything step by step as far as blocking or classification only. Alright, I think we're ready to go. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the last car on this first track. Tracks 3, 4, 3, and 2 are completely full. But track 1 has a lot of empty space. It's this track right here. So that might be the track that we might try to start building or classifying with. And I'm going to look at the last car and see, okay, what is my last car on this track? It's a gondola. So this gondola is going to tetanus. With this gondola here also needs to go to tetanus. We need to get them together. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my train, or my locomotive, connected. And I've got the sound off on purpose. Alright, we're connected. And then the conductor is going to come and uncouple that gondola. Now we're going to go and we got the reverse direction. And we're going to go ahead and pull these cars. And let's do a little more pan so that way you can see it. And it's just going to go straight back towards Peckerwood Sawmill, which is also kind of like a feeder track, in other words, because it's got a long track. I'm going to go ahead and throw the first turnout, throw the second turnout, so that way we can connect to this reefer here. And if you want sound, there's your sound. But I would rather mute it. Oh, gotta go a little further. There we go. Now we're coupled. So now the next thing I'm going to do is uncouple this gondola from this covered hopper. And we're going to pull our consist back. Now, one of the things the industrial switcher or industrial yardmaster, whatever you want to call him, can do is, as he is classifying, he or she, as they are classifying this train, if they want to, once they get a group created, they could go ahead and run it. Oops, I forgot to throw the switch. If they wanted to, they could go ahead and run these to the industries and bring back some empties. There we go. But that's totally up to them. Right now, I don't have track to all the industries yet. And I see I've got a problem, so I need to address it. I will be right back. Alright, I got it fixed. So, we'll go ahead and push these in real quick. Slow down. And we're connected. Now I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these two right here. Alright. I got the two going to tetanus together on track 1, so I'm going to leave those on track 1. Now I've got options. Gamer and Thrones is in that group. Morton Salt is also in that group. So that's some things to kind of look at. Let's see, what else could I... Yeah, and then of course the Unknown, which I don't have any cars for yet. So I'm probably going to go ahead and pick up Gamer and Thrones and do that one next. And then I will get molten salt with it. So that way I can drop all the cars off, pull up, drop the next cut off, pull up, and go that route. So now I got to make sure that I'm lined for track 3, which I am. And we'll go ahead and connect to it, which is a tank car. Alright, we're connected. Make sure I ain't got no coupler slack. And I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my boxcar to the next reefer. And we'll go ahead and pull this one out. I mean, when you're doing things such as your blocking and classifications, there's really no right or wrong. The trick is the railroad would do as less maneuvers as possible, because less maneuvers mean less time and less money. And I've got a car that's wanting to look like it's trying to jump the track somewhere. So let me see if I can get that fixed real quick. Alright. So I've got a box car that has a Tsunami sound card installed in it, and sometimes these are not the trucks that came with that car, so sometimes they give me a little issues. And if you're wondering which one it is, it's this one, which I have the sound disabled in it. Alright, so now our car destined for Gamer and Thrones is connected to that, so we'll go ahead and unhook. And we'll throw that one in the bin. Now the next car that would belong in that group would be this covered hopper here. So we will go ahead and alright, now let's get our covered hopper, and we'll go ahead and disconnect that one, and we're going to back our train up. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and couple on, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that card in the bin. So I know I've got one group of cars together. A little farther. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that car there. So now I'm going to look and see, alright, what cars do I have going where? I've got 3 cars in track 2. I've got 2 cars in track 3. And then I have 4 cars on the last track. I'm going to look at the 2 cars in track 2 are going to the same place. However, it's not all the right cars that I need. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here. Let's see, we got enough clearance here. So I'm going to go ahead and uncouple here. And we are going to pull the stock car up. And what I want to do is the first car on track 2 and the first car that's on track 3 are going to the same track. So that would be a good one to go ahead and group together. So let's go ahead and get the car on let's get the car on track 3, and because this one needs to be grouped to the other car on track 3, so we'll do it this way. Oops. That was lined up for track 4. Conductor's probably been doing a little drinking or something, because he ain't getting the switches right. There we go. And we'll make sure we're coupled. We'll pull back a little. We are. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is uncouple the reefer to the other stock car. And I'm going to go ahead and pull back. And we'll go ahead and push those together on track 2 so we can get these 2 reefer cars that are going to the same track together. Alright. And we will disconnect our stock car from the 2 reefers. Go ahead and get those together. And here I could drop off the 2 stock cars, or I could get the, connect them to the reefers. Here it's probably best if I just drop them all off, since these are all going to the same place. We'll make track 3 the one for Juicy J's meat. There we go. So let's go ahead and grab our 2 stock cars, make sure they're in order, put them on track 3 so I know I'm done with those. I'm going to go ahead and grab, whoops, what I need to do is, let's see here. Yeah, we're just going to grab the two reefers. Because I've got another car that's supposed to go there as well, which is this tank car, but we can't get the 2 stocks, the 2 reefers, and the tank all fit on the same track. So that tank car might get shoved into another group, which is okay. Make sure my coupler is lined up. There we go. And we're going to disconnect right here with the 2 reefers. There it goes. And make sure that we got these in the right order. And it looks like that. And we'll put those with those. And so now track 3 will be ready to be sent out. And this could be one of those instances that maybe the switcher goes ahead once he couples on. He might just go ahead and pull all 4 of them and go ahead and put them where they go. But for this video, we're not doing that. Alright, so now what I've got is I've got a box car that needs to go to Shack-A-Sit on track 4. That's the farthest one out. And I've got a hopper here that needs to go to the peckerwood sawmill. Like I said, that one could be in a group on its own. I'm thinking that might be our best bet, is to go ahead and try to get peckerwood as a group. So we will back up. And what we will do is we will go ahead and connect to this reefer that is attached to this wood chip hopper. Alright. And got that disconnected. Alright, now the next move I'm going to do is I'm going to get these two cars here and connect them to the wood chip hopper. So we can do that. Alright, we're connected. And we're going to disconnect here. If I can get it in there. There it goes. And that one acted like it wanted to stay on my thing. Oh, this one ain't wanting a couple. There it goes. Alright. Pull that back, and then now we're going to shove these cars on this track here. And then we're going to go ahead and drop these three off. Go ahead and pull those back. And I need to go ahead and put those in bin 2, make sure they're in the right order. And I always go left to right, so my top card is the left car. And that's on track 2, there we go. Now, the fourth car is going to shack a sit. This car needs to go to shack a sit. So I might as well go ahead and connect to this cart and just shove it up in there. And let's see here. There we go. Look, a little closer. There we go. Pull that one out. And we'll go ahead and get this one pushed in. Oops. Conductor didn't line up the tracks again. Now we can go. At this rate, the conductor needs to be fired. And let's see here, you need to go and just a little farther. Alright. And now we're going to uncouple the last two box cars. And then this will start another group, which is the shack a sit on track 4. And then also in that group, like I said, we've got this tank car that needs to go to Juicy J's. Since we're already there, we might as well go ahead and put it with the 2 cars that are going to the Shaka Sit Furniture Company. There we go. So the only other car that we could put in that group would be this tank car here that's going to Pass More Gas. So we're going to go ahead and... Whoa, hello. I don't know why we're going that fast for. So we'll go ahead and connect to that. And let's see if I can get this unhooked here. There we go. And that tank car should fit with no problem. There we go. There we go. It didn't want a couple for a second. Alright, so now we've got the tank car that's going to Juicy J's and the tank car that's going to Pass More Gas. That creates a group. So now we're servicing the 3 buildings over there. We've got another track that services 1 building over there. Then we got a track that services Peckerwood Sawmill. And then we have a track that's servicing Morton Salt and everything else. The last thing we have are these 2 cars that are going to Fresh and Funky. We could literally put them either on track 1 or track 2. It doesn't matter. Or this could be one of those instances that now, okay, since everything's blocked, now they got to be dropped off to the industry, so these might be the first 2 cars that are going to go ahead and be dropped off to Fresh and Funky. So with that being, that's pretty much how you go ahead and block and classify your yard, or like an interchange or whatnot. This is much easier to do when you have a hump yard. But the reason why railroads are doing flat switching and getting away from the hump yards is hump yard, you got a whole bunch more personnel involved. They're saying that flat switching with just 1 conductor and 1 engineer is a whole lot cheaper than an engineer pushing the train over the hump. Then you got the guy in the hump tower. You've got another guy that's what they call the spotter that spots the row numbers on each car, and then you got a guy that's literally walking back and forth pulling the handbrakes. So, it's definitely a 4 or 5 person job when you had the hump yard running. So that's why a lot of railroads are getting away from it. But other than that, I hope you found this information useful. When I get ready to do the next operations, I'm hoping to have more track laid, so that way you can see me grab cars out, and then we're going to shove cars in the industries. And then the next one will be pulling cars out of the industries and kind of doing the switch and forth, and that will kind of wrap up the way the operations works. I mean, it's very cut and dry. Your main comes in, it gets classified, as to which train is it going to go out on next. If it's another manifest, it just runs off staging. If it's a local that services industries, it'll come in. Eventually, I will have unit trains running as well. I'm not that far yet on my layout to do so. And then pretty much, after that, it's, the industrial complex where the locals, working in and out the cars. They're like an interchange, which this is considered an interchange yard between the main railroad and the industrial complex. So, like I said, I hope you find this useful. Other than that, I still got the 500 subscriber contest up and going. So if you haven't got in on that, and you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, fill in the bell so that way you can receive notifications. That contest will be closing soon. I will be announcing a video hopefully tomorrow on my layout update about the details on that. And then also, since Nick, Pittsburgh Train Fanatic, is doing a challenge, and then Uncle Wilmer's doing a challenge, and Cousin Vinny's doing a challenge, I've got a challenge for y'all as well. So, I've actually got 2 in my mind. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do yet, but I've got one in my mind. So, be looking forward to that. So, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe because I've got a lot of content to come. Other than that, I'm going to let y'all have at it. Y'all be safe out there. I wish y'all have a great weekend and happy railroading.